Here's a story that is very, very wrong. It concerns a private school in Edinburgh, in Scotland, of course. It's £15,951 a year. It costs you to go to George Watson's College in Edinburgh, as I say. Now, what happened here was a girl, one of the young pupils, decided that she was in the wrong body and she was a man. She wasn't, of course, she was a girl. Now, what happened was when the school said, oh, we're going to treat her completely, or him completely like a man, you know, we have to respect the pupil's trans wishes and all that. The parents said, no, we don't want this. You know, you can monitor our kid by all means, but we don't believe that she really is trapped in the wrong body. We believe she's, part of a fashion, and therefore we don't want to take affirmative action. Just let her be, and we think she'll grow out of it. Fair enough, isn't it? You know. So the school, guess what the school did? They reported the parents to social services, as if they've done something wrong. I think at the heart of this issue is who brings up kids? Mums, dads, or teachers? In other words, I mean, this isn't a state school, but this sort of thing does happen at state schools. And in those circumstances, you can put that question as who brings up kids, parents or the state? More and more left-wingers think it's the state. That's outrageous. And this story is outrageous as well. But I'm afraid, as we all know, it is one of many of the type. Let's speak to Fiona McAnena. She's the Director of Campaigns at Sex Matters. Hi, Fiona.
Hi, Kevin.
What do you make of this story? I mean, I know it's one more example, but, you know, please can we live in a country, in a nation, where schools don't report parents who have ideas about how to bring up their own children?
Yeah, it's pretty shocking. And of course, you have to feel for the parents and indeed for the girl who wasn't getting the right treatment for her. You know, I think it's also an illustration of how activist groups have influenced government policy. So the other part of this story is that a group called LGBT Youth Scotland have worked with the Scottish Government, and they've taken an affirming approach, which is what this school did. And so that's what the teachers did. So you end up with a situation where it's not just the parents and the child, but everyone in that school is co-opted to collude in the belief that this child has changed sex. And there will be other parents who did not want their children to be taught that you can change sex. So the entire enterprise is all distorted because the teachers have decided that they know best. It's very shocking.
Yeah. Do you know what is a disgrace there, Fiona? When I was a kid at school, I was 12 years old, there was no LGBTQ club for me to join. Luckily, if you go to George Watson's school, you can join the LGBTQ club. Now, as we know, similar situations go on all over the country on a depressingly regular basis in state schools. So this argument then, as I just said, the argument in this case, because this is a private school, why you want to spend 16 grand to send your kids to a school like this is beyond me, but that's another issue. So this is a question of, is it teachers or parents who get to bring up kids? But around the country, the question really is who raises children when we're talking about state schools? Is it parents, mothers and fathers, or is it the state? If it's the latter, then this country is in even worse a mad woke state than I thought.
Well, in this case, the parents were not in any way neglectful. I mean, the state and indeed the teachers had no business reporting them to social workers because these parents had gone and got advice. They'd got specialist advice from psychologists, and they had been told that the child would probably grow out of it. And the really shocking thing here is the teachers thought they knew better. And, you know, teachers don't even give children a paracetamol without permission. And yet here they are engaging in a very significant intervention in a child's life. So I think it's only on this issue, Kevin, that they think that they know best. But that is going to change now because we have new guidance now, draft guidance for schools that is going to remind everyone in the school that they have to look after all the children, not just the one trans child that they think is special, but actually all the children who are all either male or female, however they identify. And the only way to keep them all safe is to remember that, is to remember what sex they are. So I think we are making some progress on this.
I agree with that. The tide is slightly turning, but how much do we trust so many teachers to enact this new guidance? In my case, not very much, but fingers crossed that we'll gradually return to some sort of sanity. Just before you go, after the 9 o'clock news, I'm going to be talking about Scotland. Now, John Swinney has become leader of the SNP. With the approval of the Greens. There are 7 Green Scottish MPs up there. They basically will now wag the dog. So the Scottish National Party will have to do what the Greens say. The Greens entirely reject the Cass report and they want to give kids puberty blockers. That's extremely worrying for Scotland, isn't it?
It's very worrying. The Cass review is very clear, and the evidence from around the world now is very clear that most children do not benefit from getting their puberty interrupted. In fact, if they're unhappy about their sex, the best cure for that is to go through puberty. So, I mean, the NHS Scotland has already followed some of what's in the Cass review. They've said no more puberty blockers for now. So let's hope that the clinicians take these decisions now on behalf of children and not activists, because both this story in Scotland in the schools and what you've just described with the Greens, that's when activists start to make decisions about what's right medically for children. And if the clinicians can take back control, I think we're in with a chance.
Just on a general basis, got to go in just a second, Fiona, but I always say, I live quite near the Tavistock Clinic for gender dysphoric children. The locals there, including me, we've always called it Frankenstein's Castle. Don't you think in years to come we will look back on this period when we've been mutilating children, confused children, as a period of utter, crazy, cruel insanity?
I absolutely think we will. And as I say, it's not just the children who are unlucky enough to have been medically transitioned in some way. It's all the others who've been confused. And the progress we've made on understanding that stereotypes don't matter, and now we're going backwards.
Absolutely. Fiona, great to talk to you.